made my first trip to Cuba in 2016 to fish. And since I've hosted 7 additional trips with fly fishing anglers. Typically on our trips, before heading out to our fishing destination, we incorporate a cultural component. We spend the night in Havana, take a city tour, go out to dinner, and hear some great music. And then the following day, we leave to go fish, pretty remote area. But this year, for my 9th trip, we changed it up. Instead of fishing with a dose of culture, we did a full week of cultural exploration. It was an incredible trip. But to see how things have changed in Cuba after the pandemic was shocking, not only for me, but for our whole group. After landing at the Havana airport, we headed west to the Valley of Vinales. This UNESCO World Heritage Site doesn't allow any industrial machinery for farming. So we saw lots of horses and carts and hand plows. It was a very quiet area, and you could clearly hear the sounds of nature. This area is known for its tobacco farms, so we got to tour and learn about their growing process. We're getting a walking tour of the Vinales Valley, and it's a beautiful morning. The sun's really bright. There's a little breeze, and man, these mountains are incredible. The farmlands are just amazing. We've been talking to some of the farmers, and they're just kind-hearted people, and we're really excited about the rest of the day because we're going to head to Havana, spend a couple days in Havana before we go down south to Playa Larga and continue on our journey. One of the things we learned today was in 2016 when Obama came to Cuba, the tourism just took off like crazy, and a lot of people it's kind of like a gold rush. People were fixing up their houses. They had relatives sending them money from America, and they were just hosting people in these, essentially Airbnbs, and they were making pretty good money on it. But with different policy changes, and with the U.S. and in Cuba, the tourism has really dried up, and so it's pretty much just Europeans that are visiting here, and there's tons of little houses to rent, but most of them are empty. We've been walking around, and we really haven't seen very many tourists at all. So it's cool to see this kind of like ancient farming happening here, but you also know that it's just, life is hard.
I'm going to explain everything how we cultivate tobacco, because I would like to show where we obtain the seed of the plants, okay? It's very important to know where. We cut it with the knife, and we let 2 leaves or maybe 3 leaves like this one. Here we have 3.
Yeah.
You see? Because later we are hanging in this way just for driving the leaves. So the process of driving is around 3 months. 2 minutes or 3 minutes giving the massage. More massage, more compact the filler.
After our time in Vinales, we returned to Havana and stayed in Havana Vieja, the older part of the city. We learned about how Havana is the only city in the country that doesn't have planned electrical blackouts. The government just doesn't have the fuel to power the electrical grid, public transportation, and meet its other energy demands. In Havana, we got to experience a private concert from Dos Iris, take a driving tour of the city in classic cars, drop off school supplies at an elementary school, visit Hemingway's house, tour a cigar factory, and see a dance performance from Leeds Alfonso's School of Dance. The Cubans we met were savvy. It was incredible how they scraped by. I learned that you can buy a cup of coffee for $5 or less than 10 cents, depending on if you were buying it at a restaurant for tourists or a counter for locals.
Yeah. Salud.
Salud. Salud.
With the vast majority of the population living in extreme poverty, we heard from many that they wished they could leave. What kept them there? Sadly, it wasn't hope. It was family, relationships, fear of the unknown, no financial means to leave. Cuba is a place where resilience is forged. The second half of our trip took us south towards the Bay of Pigs. Our next home base was Playa Larga, and while a couple of the guys got to fish the saltwater flats of Las Salinas, the rest of us continued on and toured the beautiful city of Cienfuegos, founded 500 years ago by the French. After our tour, we continued on to the colorful city of Trinidad. Trinidad is known for its clay and pottery, and you see it all around the city with their tile roofs. The famous drink of Trinidad is La Cancanchera, a name that was a tongue twister for me. And it's served in a small clay cup with rum, lime, and honey. We experienced the planned blackouts in Trinidad where they only had electricity for half the day. But Trinidad was absolutely beautiful. The architecture, old church buildings, and cobbled streets, just incredible. The next day, we did a trip from Trinidad and headed up into the mountains. We had a beautiful view over the valley, got to ride in some pretty wild old Russian military trucks, and then hike through a beautiful forest to a waterfall. It's super deep. Like that? Yeah. Perfect. When we left Trinidad, we headed back to Playa Larga, and before heading home to the airport, my wife Allison and I got in a day of fishing on the flats of Las Salinas. We each caught several bonefish, and then we spent the afternoon chasing permit, and they were like permit everywhere, elusive and spooky.
How they turn around, huh?
Yeah. Yep. Lift up, lift up.
Yeah. Set the hook.
Yep, let them run.
Nice.
Good job, Al.
Let them run. Still a lot of line up
I
there.
know. Cool. Look at the blue on his fins.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Good thing you got that fly in the water.
Easy.
Yeah, he's dancing too.
There you go.
I like this song.
I like this song too. This is the best song.
Music.
I'm really excited to return to the island next year to fish, and again in 2026 to host another cultural trip. People ask me why I go to Cuba and if the fishing is really that good. I go because the fishing is really that good. And then I return because the people and the culture. In Havana, we had a tour guide at a cigar factory. He makes 10 times more money than his wife, and she's a doctor. He said, "In Cuba, the world is upside down. Perhaps that is why you like to come here and see for yourself." Perhaps.
It's mojito, it's the mint in the glass. Natural lemon, and Cuban honey. Three is rum Reserva. It's good. It's Ale, stop. Look, ladies. Always, always, never stop. Yeah. Strong mojito. Strong mojito. Yes. Strong mojito. The vacation in Cuba. Vacation in Cuba. Tomorrow for the country. Big fishes. Thank you, Alex. Mojito. Fresh. Fresh. Oh, fresh. Yes. Eh? Okay. The portion is here. 2 lobster. Per person, okay? 2 lobster. Perfect.
From the middle.
Yes. Look. Look.
Okay.
Stomach.
gonna take
No
that out?
eat. No eat. Okay? Stomach. No eat. See one more. The tail, strong tail is 1. Yes. And 2. Perfect. Is only tail the lobster. Perfect.
Oh my goodness.
Well, now is nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is only tail. Well, smell. Yes. The same at home. Long life for my friends here. Long life.